This is the all-new 2022 Civic, a car built on a reputation of 50 years of affordability, efficiency, and durability. On top of that, its predecessor received praise for its sporty handling, spacious interior, and comfortable ride. Those are some big shoes to fill, and it begs the question, is this as good as the previous generation Civic? Yes, it is. It's also better than the Kia Forte, Hyundai Elantra, Mazda 3, and Toyota Corolla. But before I get into why, do me a favor and hit like and subscribe below, and head over to edmunds.com/sellmycar to get a cash offer on your vehicle. The 2022 Civic is on sale right now. Like right now. This video is going live the same day the new Civics show up in dealerships. There are 4 trim levels to choose from, starting with the base LX for around 22 grand. It gets a 158 horsepower 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and that's right in line with other entry-level sedans in this class. It's paired with a continuously variable transmission that drives a lot like your typical automatic. It's the same engine as the previous generation, but the CVT has been updated to improve response. You get all of the typical standard advanced safety features as part of the Honda Sensing Suite, as well as adaptive cruise control and a partial digital instrument panel. Next up is the Honda Civic Sport for another $1,400. Upgrades include 18-inch alloy wheels, black styling cues, keyless entry, paddle shifters, and a better audio system. We suggest stepping up to at least the EX trim, which starts just under $26,000. That's because you get the more powerful 1.5-liter turbocharged engine that's good for 180 horsepower. It's also a carryover from the previous generation, but it gets a slight 6 horsepower bump. It also gets slightly better fuel economy than the base engine by about 1 or 2 mpg depending on trim. Besides the better engine, the EX also gets you a sunroof, blind spot monitor, dual zone climate control, heated front seats, and split folding rear seats. What we have here, however, is the top of the line touring model that starts right around $29,000. It also gets the turbo engine, additional safety features, leather, and a Bose premium audio system. You also get wireless phone integration, which means you don't have to deal with USB cables. These sedans will be the first Civics in the new generation. The hatchback will return later in the year, and we should expect an SI and high-performance Type R to follow in the coming years. So how does the Civic stack up against the competition? Well, compared to the top trims of its closest rivals, it is more expensive. $3,500 more than a fully loaded Kia Forte, and a couple $100 more than the top-of-the-line Toyota Corolla. It is worth noting, though, that you get a few more features with the Honda than the Kia. As far as power goes, the Civic Touring makes a little more than the Hyundai Elantra, but a little less than the Mazda 3 and Kia Forte. There's been a lot of debate over the styling of this new Civic, with a lot of complaints saying it looks boring. And I can understand that sentiment, but I don't think that's such a bad thing either. The last Civic had a lot going on design-wise, and I wasn't a fan of the busier grille and numerous fake vents. To me, it was a little over-designed. This new Civic, it's not nearly as angular or sporty, but I like its cleaner lines. I even see a hint of the old second-generation Honda Accord from the 1980s in these headlights and grille. Up front, the design has been simplified for a more mature appearance. On the profile view, it looks like the hood has been lengthened. That's because these roof pillars have been pulled back a few inches. There's also a nice sharp crease that runs from nose to tail that helps to break up some of the heaviness that might otherwise result. There's also a more pronounced deck lid back here for that traditional sedan profile. It also has much more conventional taillights. Overall, this new Civic may not be as exciting, but I like it for its cleaner and more refined design. Just like your mom used to say, looks aren't everything, so let's go for a drive. Acceleration is somewhat anemic at first, but power builds quickly enough where you feel like you don't have to floor it to get up to speed. At the Edmunds test track, this Civic with the turbo engine took 7.9 seconds to get to 60 miles an hour. That's almost a full second slower than the last Civic Turbo that we tested. Now this Civic is 160 pounds heavier, and maybe that's contributing to it, but even still, it's quicker than most other sedans in this class. Coming to a stop from 60 required 120 feet, which is a few feet shorter than average. And the Civic felt composed under those panic braking situations. And that translates to more confidence when you do have to really grab onto those brakes. The brake pedal is a little soft, but it feels appropriate for this kind of car. Like the last generation Civic, this new one earns points for its sporty handling. Sure, the tires may howl loudly as you knife through turns, but it still takes turns sharper than most other sedans in this class, except for maybe the Mazda 3. That sporty handling does make the ride a little bit stiffer though. I can feel every rut and bump in the road, but at least the initial impacts are smoothed over well. It's on the busy side, and like a talkative passenger, it's fine for a while, but after several hours, it starts to wear you down.
Oh yeah, so I just recently got into CrossFit. It's a life changer. You would love it. Hyatt Regency. Have you ever stayed there? Oh, cruise ships. Construction on the left, slow down.
Another less significant source of fatigue is the amount of road noise. Even on city streets, it's noticeable. And on highways, it can be downright intrusive, especially when you're on coarser surfaces. As far as outward visibility goes, this Civic deserves some praise. This roof pillar here has been moved back a few inches and thinned out, giving you a much better view through left turns. The rear view is a little bit narrow, but the rear view camera takes any guesswork when you're backing into a spot. In previous Edmunds evaluations, we've deducted points for Honda's overly sensitive driver assistance. And the same can be said about this Civic, but not to the same degree. False alarms still occur, but they're just not nearly as frequent. The lane keep assist can get confused when the lane markings get faded, and it'll start drifting out of lanes, forcing you to fight with wheel just a little bit. The adaptive cruise control does a really good job of maintaining the gap between you and the car in front. It's also really good at maintaining the speed on steep downhills. The problem I saw with that though is using the brakes rather than selecting a lower gear ratio in the transmission. That leaves you open to possibly overheating the brakes on really long and steep grades. But I just tapped this paddle shifter down a few times and solved that problem. Overall, I'm really pleased with the way this Civic drives. Except for acceleration, it's as good or better than its predecessor. There's more to go over with the interior though, so let's head back and get into the details. Like the exterior, the interior takes a cleaner and simpler approach to design. I like the wide horizontal dash, the honeycomb grille, and the easy-to-use climate controls. The infotainment screen is right in the driver's sightline to reduce distraction. And in this top trim, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that are wireless. It's great because it gives you that familiar interface you're so used to on your phone. I did notice some rather slow responses to commands though, when you're running it wirelessly, but when you're corded, it's totally fine. Front seats are well shaped and cushioned for long distance comfort, and even one of our editors who's 6'4" said he had plenty of space. The lack of lumbar support might be an issue for some. After about an hour on the road, I could have used a little more support in the lower back area. But as far as storage goes, it's pretty good. You have a well-sized bin right here, large cup holders, and a rubberized wireless charging pad to keep your phone from sliding around. Materials quality on the interior is really good for the class. One thing in particular I want to point out is this section here. If you're a viewer of this channel, you know how much we hate piano black, but Honda came up with a pretty smart solution. They gave it a micro herringbone pattern that cuts down a lot on the glare and reflection, but it also doesn't show smudges that much. Well, that's it for the front. Let's check out the back. If you need adult-sized rear seats, the new Civic has you covered. I'm 5'10", and I'm sitting behind the driver's seat, which is set for me. My head is kind of brushing the headliner, but I have plenty of space in front of my knees, as well as under the seat for my feet. You also have 2 USB ports to stay charged, and this handy center armrest bin with 2 cup holders. Behind the seats are 14.8 cubic feet of cargo space, which is pretty generous for the class. And these seats fold down, but not flat, to give you even more room. So what's the bottom line on this all-new 2022 Honda Civic? Well, it's marginally better than its predecessor, which means it'll hold on to the top spot among compact sedans, at least for now. Sure, it's a little more expensive than the Kia Forte and Hyundai Elantra, but it justifies that added cost with praiseworthy driving dynamics, an interior that's both attractive and easy to use, as well as all the features and tech we've come to expect. As they say in boxing, and still, best compact sedan in the world, the Honda Civic! Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and head over to Edmunds.com for all the latest details, news, and specs on the Civic and its competition.